So from all that time with Biola, and you've been pushed to be a bit more public with your faith, where did that take you? And part of me wants to explore the tension going on that is noted in your book. You've got the church where you're really struggling with. You've got Christians like Nabil and David who are really encouraging you, but the local church isn't. How do you then move forward in your faith and hold that tension? Because I'm going to assume here, because I've read the book as well, that you do love the church, that the church is something that you do believe in. But how do you manage that tension and going forward over that period of time?
Yeah, there's many different ways I've been trying to work this out. And I do want to make it clear that I am still working it out. So the book, the last two chapters they're titled No Tidy Endings and Crash Landing, because I don't feel like here's 10 steps so you can recover from hypocrisy in the church. I don't have that.
I really appreciated that. I think that actually made your book stand out, that this is an ongoing journey for you. I really appreciated that. And as I said before we came on live, there's some really vulnerable bits that I think as apologists, evangelists, we can sometimes come across like we've got it so sorted. And that's, Jesus is great. He forgives sins and he's still doing that for me. So I think there's definitely an amazing part of that. So maybe how are you working it out? Where are you at with that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. One of the things you'll hear me say over and over and over is the Sermon on the Mount, Luke 6, what Jesus is telling us to do there of loving our enemies and doing good to those who persecute us. And then if you couple that with, the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God. And then he says, and love your neighbor as yourself. And I think this is an interesting coupling because many times your enemy is your neighbor. Yep. It's like the person that's supposed to be doing right, the person who's supposed to be loving you ends up being the person who's persecuting you or, spiritually abusing or whatever. So what I've gotten from Jesus's words in the Sermon on the Mount, that I'm supposed to do good to people in spite of what they're doing to me. So do unto others what you want done to you. So that's sort of my position in the church right now is I know these people are going to fail me because problem of evil, sin in the world, it's not going to get better till resurrection. Mm-hmm. So, not fully better. It can be better. Yeah. I believe in the already and not yet kind of philosophy. Like he came, he brought redemption now, but it's not fully going to be restored until the end. But in that time, I can do to others the way that I would want people to do things for me, even when they're not. Mm-hmm. So I often tease my husband. I don't know if this is an accurate metaphor, but I say, well, I Gandalf it. I know everybody around me is going to fail me, and I still am going to try to do what's right, even when it makes me angry.
Yeah.
I love the church. It's like a marriage relationship, right? It's with other people and they're going to fail me and I'm going to fail them. And I admit that in the book is that, part of the problems I have with the church is I was naive going into it. Thinking I'm going to find all these amazing people who are just living like, I don't know, the elves at Rivendell or something. Mm-hmm. And they're human and they're working through their vices. They're working through their problems. Yep. And we get hurt by that because there's evil in the world, there's sin in the world. So I have to acknowledge that I am going to get hurt by other people but that doesn't give me the right to hurt them. Mm-hmm. In fact, what Jesus says is that I should do better to them. I should love them in a manner that, in a redemptive love and one that doesn't expect anything in return.
Yeah. And
I think that sort of, more people probably have a quid pro quo going on in their mind where they think I did this for you, so you should do this for me. Or I treated you this way, so you should treat me this way. Or I love those people that think like me and act like me and not the others. And I've seen a lot of that being a minister's wife. I've seen that worked out in different ways in the church where there've been cliques. Yep. I've been excluded a lot of times from the Southern evangelical church culture and groups because I'm Northwest. Former atheist who showed up in the South with no makeup and spiky short hair. And so people just looked at me and were suspicious of me.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was, that's the tension now, is that I try to do what I think is right for me and Jesus, right? So I'm going to treat you good because it's the right thing to do. I fail at that. There are times I fail.
Don't we all? Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to do. And there's a lot of prayer that goes into that. There's a lot of trusting God with situations where I don't trust people, and say, I don't see how this is going to work out. I don't enjoy this situation, but I do trust you because of what you did on the cross. I know you're trustworthy. So it's a sort of pastoral answer. There's a philosophical response, which is digging deep into the problem of evil. Yeah. And the more I dig into the problem of evil, the more I expect everybody to fail me, including myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to fail me. So, it's just that's kind of how I love the church because Jesus died for her. Actually, I love people, not just the church.
Yep.
It's people.
Yep.
Do you love people? And if you love people, the church they're part of humanity.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest revelations for me is recognizing that the church is both the best thing about the gospel, in that you gain a family, an eternal family that's global, that's breaks all sorts of diversity boundaries, but it's also the worst thing. it's the most frustrating and often terrible thing that has damaged people when they've failed, and part of the tension, as you're explaining, is that it's because of us that we are that mess, and I find so many people that have been hurt by the church will completely give up on any sense of church because of that hurt and lack of recognition that, well, we're all human. and unfortunately, this side of resurrection, as you said, it won't be a perfect image of the kingdom. Unfortunately, is it Paul that uses a image of a broken mirror or something, or maybe I'll pick that up from someone else.
A mirror dimly lit. Yeah, I think that might be 1 Corinthians, maybe later on in 13.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. I could be wrong, but I think that's the mirror dimly lit. Yeah.
And just waiting for when that's really clear and we see the family as it was meant to be.
It's not a small thing, is it? I mean, we're not trying to be trite here.
No.
This is hard. But I think a lot of people leave the church having more of a naive expectation of what she is. And she is in the world, and she is messy and disgusting as Christians, we have to own up to our past. We've tried to justify horrific things and said that this is because of, whatever, we want to try to justify it from the scriptures, and it's not justifiable.
Yeah.
So, there are things in our past that are like that. Just saying, we need to own up to the past.
Definitely.
But as Christians, I used to tell my dad this, I was like, but we actually do have something we're aiming for, which is Christ-likeness, the standard of goodness that is God himself. So, at least we have something we're accountable to rather than nothing at all, or our own feelings or preferences in any given culture or time in history.